Hello everyone, so before we get started, I wanted to show off my new sticker sheet. These stickers are matte and they're of my original characters. So this is Sydney, Isabella, Jules, Moy, and then Jasper. And there's also small stickers around that you can also use. So for today's video, I will be designing a Halloween outfit for Jules. And I wanted to do this just to kind of get into the spirit of Halloween and October, even though it literally just turned October. So for some reason, this is actually the first year that I am designing a Halloween outfit for one of my characters, which is kind of crazy to think about because considering how long I've been drawing and how long I've had some of the characters that I made, like, why did I never make a Halloween costume for any of them? But anyway, I thought it would be fun to have a video where you guys could see the process behind how I design. And so this first thing that I'm doing is creating just a chibi-esque body base to brainstorm my ideas on. And I do actually get kind of overwhelmed with like a blank slate, and some of you have mentioned in the comments that you get kind of scared of like a blank sketch page or just a blank canvas. And you know, don't worry, I think it's fairly common. I also get intimidated by those things where it's just like this empty white screen and I'm just like, what do I do? And so this is something quick that I do to help myself kind of brainstorm. My intention in creating this design was eventually drawing like a full body illustration or character art of her wearing it. And I didn't want to start off with the sketch for that because it seemed a bit too final. If I did that, I would probably want to make the sketch or the design already like perfectly how I wanted it, and it leaves like no room for me to feel like I can brainstorm. I know how my brain works, and so I was like, I'm just gonna draw this like short little chibi, or I guess she's not short, but I'll just draw the small chibis that I can sketch different outfit ideas on. Generally, before I even start drawing, I have a basic idea of what I want or a vibe, and then I go on Pinterest and I create a board for it. I just look for inspiration, outfit ideas, some details that I could probably include in. And so I made one for this, and all I knew basically was I still wanted to keep the theme of grunge, which is the style of fashion that Jules likes to wear, and I wanted her to be a vampire. And so I just looked up grungy vampire outfits, which you can guess it's not very difficult to find some. And I will put the link to the board in the description so you yourself can go check out the things that I found and how I implemented them into design. And I know that I say that all the time about how I'm going to include links, and then I never do, but I swear this time I will make sure that I do. So before we get deeper into the sketch, I actually have a small unboxing to do because this video is sponsored. So I got to unbox and try out divoom's ditoo speaker. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but I got it in the color blue, and I mean, just look at it. It looks like a small TV, and it was super satisfying to peel all of these things off of it. This little box comes with 2 sticker sheets, which are very cute. and a manual to show you how to use it, and of course the USB charging cable. The keyboard sounds actually have a really nice click to them. I ended up putting most of the stickers on it and also my characters on it, so it's pretty perfect to decorate my new desk. So this is a speaker, but you can also kind of use it as like a little mini decoration. You can use it to play some small games in there that are pixelized. I played Snake and Tetris, but I wasn't very good at them. You can also have these like cute pixel art things on display, and you can either make your own using their app, or you can look through a gallery and try out other people's. The speakers also work pretty nicely. You can connect it to your phone or PC. So if you are interested in buying one, I do have a 10% off discount code in the description. And yeah, thank you so much to divoom for sponsoring this video. And now I am back to more sketching, but this time there's a cute little ghostie that I found on the gallery to match this video. So after I drew the initial design, I colored it off camera, and I came to the conclusion that I didn't really like it, or it wasn't what I truly wanted for this design. So I went back to Pinterest and I looked at more ideas. And when I went back to drawing, I made it my goal to find a silhouette that I wanted to kind of finalize. And so I added wings to make the silhouette look a bit more interesting. I messed around with what she was wearing on the bottom, either a skirt or pants. And my idea was to have basically a puffy top with the sleeves and something to balance out the puffiness with the legs. And so I messed with pants and a short skirt with like leggings. And I also messed with turning the vest or corset into denim to match the grungy theme of it. I also had this idea of like these worn out messy shoes that you'll be able to see on the Pinterest board if you look at it, with like ripped jeans, and because this is a much like flatter leg shape, I also added like a cape to balance it out, but unfortunately I didn't go through with that in the actual design. And so I wanted to ask you, which one do you like the most that you see here? Did you like the skirt better? Did you like the pants? Maybe the one with a cape? Maybe you prefer it without wings? You know, I want to know your opinion, because I think it's really fun to look at concept art and see people's preferences, because that's what makes concept art fun, is to see how a group of people react to it and see which design kind of resonates with you. So this is where I start to finalize the design a little bit by sketching the body for the actual illustration. This is after I decided which concept I liked the best, and I actually ended up going with a skirt. Out of all the small designs, I actually liked the denim jeans with the denim vest and the cape with the sneakers. God, that's a mouthful. But basically, the one with pants is the one that I liked the best on paper. But when it comes to coloring, I was struggling with the thought of like including blue denim into the design. And I was just like, it doesn't feel vampire-y enough with all this denim in it. So I went with a skirt instead, because I felt like it gave a much more Halloween feel to the design. Honestly, it was really fun and refreshing to draw jewels like this, because Normally, Jules is a character that I have painted out to be like a grumpy, mean girl who kind of never really shows any emotion, who doesn't really smile. But, in reality, she can do that stuff. She can still show emotion. She can still be goofy. It's just that most of that stuff kind of happens around her friends. Like, that is my lore for Jules. And so for this piece, this story behind it is kind of like she's like dressing up with her friends for Halloween, and she's enjoying herself. She's like vibing with dressing up as a vampire, and she's kind of like living, which is ironic because she's a vampire, but it's almost like she's really getting into the role of a vampire, and she's kind of like playing into a maniac vampire who like really loves blood and stuff, and is a killer. Like, that is my lore for this piece. And because she's supposed to be dressing up with her friends, I do eventually this month, I want to make other Halloween designs for Sydney and Isabella, who are her two best friends. So when it came to this vest here, there was a lot of things to consider. In the concept art, I kind of hovered over a corset instead of a vest, but I went with a vest because I just think that it matched Jules more to wear a vest rather than a corset. But the vest kind of is acting like a corset. And here you can see that I did put some patches on it, which is from the small concept art. But unfortunately, I do end up taking them out later on after I line because, once again, it just it didn't feel like a vampire thing. Like it felt more like something that I would include in a zombie design or a Frankenstein design. So I just went with all these skull designs because I think Jules is just really into skull decorations. I also did really like the cape idea, but I didn't think it looked good with the skirt because the skirt's already this like fabric that's draping down, and I feel like the cape would just kind of ruin the silhouette of the skirt, so I left it out, even though I would really like that. And these skull thingies on her boots, or her heels, are actually taken from a drag queen named Manila Luzon, because I was watching an episode of Pit Stop that they were on, and they had these diamond thingies on their heels that were like magnetized, and so I just took that same concept, except I did it with skulls instead. So now that I'm coloring this, I really have to admit to you guys that I think coloring is my weak point when it comes to design, because I did end up scrapping the denim idea because it was clashing with the colors that I wanted, and then once I got to coloring, it just didn't look like how I expected it to, and I couldn't really find a way for it to work out as much as I wanted it to. So my general idea, or like my requirements for the color, was that I wanted black to be the dominant color in the design. So one thing that I've learned from other artists about design is that when it comes to outfits, you just want like one main color that kind of takes up around 60% of the design. Then everything else are accents. Like nothing else should be overpowering. And so I knew that I wanted black to be my dominant color, and I wanted red to be an accent because, of course, blood, plus I just really like red on Jules because her eyes are green and they complement each other. I wanted to include as much of Jules' original colors into this, so I also wanted to put purple in there. Purple wasn't working out when I was figuring out the color combinations, and it just kind of frustrated me at one point. That's why I didn't include me lining and coloring the flats, because it was just honestly taking too long and my indecisiveness was annoying me. So in the end I went with like kind of a maroon burgundy type of red, and I added this little patchwork man that I found on Pinterest because I had to delete the like square patches, but I still wanted to include some sort of thing on her vest. I do think the sleeves look a bit empty, but I honestly don't know what it would have added to them. So overpainting is really where a design starts to shine, especially when it comes to my work process, because I can't really think of a lot of stuff during lining and sketching, or just like too lazy to like color in the fine details at first. And so when I overpaint, that's when I add in, and it really starts to pop out and become alive. So there's like buttons and other stuff that I added in while overpainting. I put in a patch on her skirt that said Sid and Zabella were here. This little fun thing. I put a clip in her hair. I just really like overpainting. You guys know how much I love overpainting because you really can just do anything you want to the design, and if you don't like it, you could just erase it because it's on a different layer. So this is where I was making the patch that says Sydney and Isabella were here, and I just thought it would be a fun little thing. Like maybe Sydney and Isabella are the ones who created this skirt for Jules, and they kind of just put this in because they just couldn't help themselves. I did want to make Halloween costumes for them too. I just haven't figured out like what creature or what spooky person I want them to be yet. Jules being a vampire was almost like instant. Like I didn't even have to think about it. But Sydney and Isabella are vastly different characters in terms of personality from Jules. You know, like Jules is a bit edgy and Sydney is super into bright colors and kidcore. Isabella is essentially a girly girl. She's like softcore, pinks. She loves dresses. But I still did want to choose something spooky. At the moment, the ideas I have are maybe like a witch design or Frankenstein-esque, maybe a mummy or a ghost. Either way, they all seem fun. I do think that with Sydney and Isabella, I'm going to approach it with a more cutesy style instead of edgy and grungy like I did go with Jules. I still want it to match like their original kind of fashion sense because it would match their characters more if I stuck to that. But yeah, that is pretty much it for the video. I hope you like how the design turned out. Or if you didn't like it, let me know what you don't like about it in the comments. But personally, I'm pretty satisfied with it. It isn't exactly what I had envisioned in my mind. It didn't turn out how I totally wanted it to, but I don't think it's a bad design. So I'm still proud that I managed to do this. But yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting me and being here. Most of all, have a good day and see you next time. Goodbye.